Once upon a time, in a land where the enchanted forest bustled with mystical creatures, there lived a mischievous pixie named Piper. Her pranks were legendary, causing chaos and laughter throughout the realm. However, long ago, her fellow pixies had grown tired of her tricks and decided to put a spell on her that prevented her from causing any more mischief. One fateful day, as the sun began to set and the enchanting twilight bathed the forest in its soft glow, 4 friends gathered for their customary tea party. Lily the fairy, Benny the squirrel, Gilbert the bunny, and Oliver the owl sat around a beautifully set table, each sipping on their preferred brew. Lily, Gilbert, and Benny enjoyed sleepy tea as they were preparing for bedtime, while Oliver, the night owl, sipped on black tea to kickstart his nighttime adventures. Just as they were enjoying their tea and conversation, a sudden alarm reverberated through the forest. The friends' eyes widened in alarm, and a hush fell over the clearing. The silence was broken by a deafening clap of thunder, followed by the unexpected sight of the spectral stags stampeding through the forest, their silver antlers glistening in the moonlight. The spectral stags, usually guardians of peace and tranquility, came charging past the group of friends, their eyes wide with fear. One of them bellowed, "Piper the Pixie is loose! Run, hide, and protect yourselves!" The friends realized the gravity of the situation and knew they needed to find shelter. Benny, in his haste, took a giant gulp of his tea, only to exclaim, "Oh no, that was coffee! Piper the Pixie replaced my tea with the strongest coffee I've ever had." "Piper!" The pixie's laughter eerily filled the air around them. With that, Benny's eyes widened, and he began to shake uncontrollably. Suddenly, in a flash, Benny darted off into the forest. Concerned for their friend, Lily, Gilbert, and Oliver abandoned their tea and sprinted after Benny. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they were greeted by a surreal scene. Piper the Pixie was wreaking havoc, twisting the landscape into a fantastical and disorienting wonderland. Trees transformed into licorice strands, bushes into cotton candy, and the river into a roaring stream of hot chocolate. As they raced, they saw the moonfire foxes, usually gentle and ethereal creatures, glowing brightly as they hurriedly sought refuge. Moondancer. Butterflies cowered in caves, and lumaflyers soared higher than ever before, trying to escape Piper's antics. The forest grew increasingly distorted, and Piper's echoing laughter filled the air. Finally, the friends caught up with Benny, who was trapped on a magical hamster wheel created by Piper's magic. He was running endlessly on the wheel, still fueled by coffee running through his tiny veins. Piper watched and laughed as Benny ran and ran. The group of forest friends pleaded with Piper to cease her mischievous deeds, but she defiantly declared that she would never stop. As frustration grew amongst the friends, Lily grew impatient, and she summoned all the magical creatures of the forest with a blinding and booming burst of her wand's light. She warned Piper that if she didn't stop, they would unite their magic to imprison her once more. Piper, unafraid, challenged the forest creatures. "Catch me if you can!" And she took off, flying wildly throughout the forest. Benny, still shaking with energy from the coffee, suddenly broke free from the spell he was under, and he leapt off of the hamster wheel. He chased after Piper, with the creatures of the forest following closely behind. For a moment in the wild chase, Piper grew arrogant that she would never be caught. She foolishly looked back to make fun of the creatures chasing her. In that instant, Piper's laughter ceased abruptly as she slammed into an enormous icing wall she had placed smack in the middle of the forest. Piper had been undone by her own magical mischief. Stunned and defeated, Piper tumbled to the ground, unconscious. With Piper subdued, the creatures of the forest acted swiftly, casting a spell that locked her away in a magical castle. When Piper awoke, she was angered to find she was once again imprisoned by a magical spell. Her mischief was bound within the walls of the castle. She vowed revenge, promising that one day she would escape and unleash her mischief upon the world once more. The creatures of the forest nodded solemnly, ready to defend their realm should Piper ever return. And so the enchanted forest returned to its previous splendor and remained a place of wonder, beauty, and harmony, watched over by the steadfast bond of its inhabitants.